morning, everybody, and welcome to day 3 of our OSH Week program, a special week dedicated to you, the OSH community. My name is Mufara Moringa, and I'm the Community and Engagement Lead here at Explore Education, and I'm happy to be here with all of you for this session on vacation care in office. Before we begin, of course, I'd like to acknowledge and pay respects to the traditional custodians of the lands of which we all meet today. I'm honoured to be presenting to you from the lands of the Wurundjeri people of the Kulin Nation. And if you've been to any of our presentations before, you know the deal. We'd love to know where you are, so please pop in the chat, say good morning, let us know where you're located. We'd love to hear from you. Of course, as we get ready for the rest of our virtual conference, it's not too late to register for any of the remaining sessions. We've got Sarah Louise Gandolfo this afternoon and another one with Kylie Keane tomorrow. So both of them are going to be great presentations around leadership and play work. So definitely sign up, scan the QR code to view the sessions. So without further ado, let's kick off today's session. We have with us our training specialist, Tash Vyman, here, who will be presenting vacation care in office. Tash, how are you going this morning?
I'm doing amazing. Thank you so much for the beautiful shout out.
Oh, of course, Tash. It's been great having you yesterday with the bookings and occupancy one, and having you again today, honing in on vacation care in office. So I'm going to stop sharing my screen. I'm going to put myself on mute. One last note, actually, we do have the Q&A and the chat going. So throughout the presentation, feel free to post any comments, ask any questions, and I'll be back here moderating and answering you in the background. But Tash will, of course, answer some questions as we go as well. So without further ado, I'm going to turn myself off, and Tash, the show is yours.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Mufara. All right, let me share my screen. Welcome, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us this morning. We are in day 3 of OSH Week. Super exciting. And as Mufara mentioned, we still have lots more to come. So please register for all of these sessions that we'll be holding this afternoon and tomorrow. Again, as Mufara said, my name is Tash. I work as a training specialist here at Explore Education. I am one of 3 incredible trainers here. And if you have come through and done any training, or if you've listened to any of our learning paths, you probably recognize my voice or one of the other incredible trainers, because we create that content for you. All right, as Mufara mentioned, how can you interact with us? We want you participating in this session. We want to make sure that you are getting the most out of today's 1-hour session with us. So we will be running some polls. They will pop up on your team screen, so please engage in those. Let us know what you're thinking. They are confidential. We'll be able to see your answer, but no one else is going to see what you've put in there. So be honest. Let us know what we're doing well, what we can celebrate, what you want more resourcing on. If you're a little bit unsure on things, let us know. Pop questions into the Q&A. So today's session is really interactive. I'm going to take you live through our software, and I'm going to walk you through exactly what it's going to look like to set yourselves up for success in running your vacation care programs. So if you've got some questions, if there's some user cases that you're just not sure of, pop them in the Q&A. Mufara is going to answer those, or alternately, we're going to have some Q&A time at the end, and he will jump on and ask me those questions live so we can walk you through how to answer them. And then finally, as you all know, we have the chat. If you haven't already, please say good morning. Let us know where you're dialing in from, and then just engage with your community in there. If people are, asking some questions or wanting to interact, jump in and vibe with them. All right, a little bit of an overview on today's agenda. So this session will assist administrators, educators, and families with aligning and connecting when it comes to vacation care programs. So during this session, we're going to take you through how to prepare your master role ahead of your vacation care. We're going to talk to how to communicate with families, both from an educator standpoint and administrator standpoint, and how they can communicate back with you. We're going to talk about digitizing your programs, your menus, your child documentation. If you didn't check out yesterday's programming and planning session, when the recording becomes available next week, I highly recommend reviewing it. Candy delivered an incredibly informative session on how children can be collaborating on Playground, but we're going to speak a little bit more to that. We're also going to talk about what your educators can be producing for your families. And then we're going to round up the session on Home App. So how are your families receiving these communications? What do they look like? How can they engage back with you, again, through the Home App? And without further ado, we're going to jump straight into our Softwares Live and get out of these slides. Okay, so what you can see on my screen is your Office system. I've jumped into my Little Sprouts OSH. I have some really famous child actors in here that attend my service. We're very bougie. But we're looking at master role. And when we're speaking to vacation care, obviously when you're inputting booking patterns for children, you're probably more looking at before and after school care, and you're projecting those out until the end of the year. So to prepare your roles for vacation care, we're going to need to remove those bookings. Now, there is no right time to do this. It's really provider based. So having a chat with your provider around what their expectation is. Our recommendation is definitely getting those bookings out before your billing window opens up. So if you bill 2 weeks in advance, at a minimum, you're going to delete these bookings 2 weeks out. But for vacation care, you probably want to do it about 3 or 4 weeks out from the actual vacation care period. So then you can open up your instant mobile bookings for families. So then they can be securing a vacation care spot at your service. So when we speak to deleting bookings, how do we do this? Really, really easy. When we're talking to our Easter holiday period, which starts on the 1st of April, we're going to project forward to the 1st of April. You can press on this date and quickly skip forward. You don't need to do what I did and press the arrow across. We're going to select all children. So just ticking the checkbox here is going to select all children who are active on your roll for the particular date that you've selected. And then we're going to move up to delete. We're going to input our date range. So we need to confirm what period of time we're wanting to delete these bookings from. So we're going to start our deletion from Monday, the 1st of April, and I'm going to project this forward for the 2-week period being the OSH period. So we're going to delete until the 14th of April here. Now I want to delete the entirety of the bookings that are currently in my system. So I'm going to leave Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday as the deletion days. But for yourselves, if you're not wanting to delete Monday because it is a public holiday and maybe you charge for that, completely up to you, your provider discretion, you might delete the Monday, completely up to you. I can see based on the date range that I've put in here and the days, I've got 360 bookings that I'm deleting from before and after school care. When I hit preview, this is going to give me a holistic overview of each of those bookings. So what I'm going to see in here is the child name, the date of the session, the session times, the room, the fee, and if it was a standard booking, if it was a casual booking, if it was a mobile app booking. So it's going to let me know that information. Now, there is no need for you to necessarily scroll through all of this unless you're wanting to remove something. So if you've made a mistake and we actually do want to charge alfalfa for the first, we can tick everyone and then untick him. Otherwise, just tick at the top and that's going to select all of those sessions. And then we're going to hit delete bookings. Now, depending on how many bookings you have in your system, this will take a moment to process. I had 360, so it took a couple of seconds in there to update. But now we can see that my vacation care period is completely open. I don't have any before or after school care sessions applicable for these date ranges. Now, how do I audit this? So if an administrator's gone through, they've made a mistake, they've deleted the wrong week, how can I find out who did that and what they deleted and which children this was applicable to? You have an incredible audit log. So pressing on your settings button here, you'll land on your audit log, and it will have the most recent edits, creations or deletions at the top, your most historic at the bottom, and you have full access from when your system was you first started using Office. You can segment your view by pressing deleted and press search, and that will just segment everything to just show me what's been deleted off the system. Alternately, you can use your search bar if you're looking for a particular child or you want to use the keyword for a particular administrator name. Otherwise, press on the 3 dots and it gives you an overview of all of the sessions that have been deleted. Now, there is no reversal for this. So again, in those screens, you did need to firstly confirm the date range was correct, and secondly, confirm that those sessions are definitely the ones you want to delete. Once you've gone through that process and you've hit delete, we can't reverse that, but you can use this audit log if you do need to re-implement anything back onto your system. And now our master role is open and ready for instant mobile bookings if you do utilize that feature. Alternately, you might be receiving booking notifications up the top here and you can start actioning those. So that's our master role. Really, really easy. It's going to take you 30 seconds to get things deleted and ready in your system. And definitely make sure that you're doing this maybe 2 or 3 weeks out from your vacation care period. Now let's move into the fun stuff. How are we communicating with our families, with educators? How are we getting the information out there on what we're delivering in our vacation care program? From an administrator standpoint, you've got 2 options. You could be jumping into Playground Web and you could be sending documentation like a table out with all of your program or itinerary for the vacation care period to families, and they'll be able to view that. Alternately, you might create it in Playground, download the PDF, and you could use your comm center to be sharing this out with your families of children. So let's first look at comm center, and then we're going to dive over to Playground shortly. So coming into comm center here, I'm going to press on new communication. And for this example, I want to use a post because I'm going to be a little bit more detailed with the level of information I'm sharing out with my families. In your post, you might name this Easter Vacation Care 2024. And then who are we wanting to share this with? So if we go into add contacts, if you haven't used this feature yet, you've got a lot of incredible filters to be able to find exactly who it is that you're wanting to share this with. We can go off parents or guardians. We can look at care type, so we can just send to our primary or all. We can base off tags. So if in your system under financial parent accounts, you're placing a tag on your families that says vacation care, you might make a before school care, an after school care, and a vacation care tag. So that way you can quickly segment those families and be sending them information that's relevant to them. So if you've got children who don't attend vacation care period, you probably don't want to send the information out to them. Or maybe you do, maybe you want to drive that occupancy. So you can segment based on your tags that you've created. Based on that, you'll be able to find who you want to send to, or you can base it off children. So you can segment by a room. Now this room information pulls from the child profile. So just making sure that the child's profile says vacation care, before school care, or after school care. You can segment by age range. So if you've got particular activities over the vacation care period that are going to be for your older children, then you can just send communications out to children that, you know, are maybe 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, however old they might be. And then you've got your statuses in here as well. So just finding the families that you want to communicate with, ticking on them, add selected, and you'll be able to see how many you're communicating with here. From there, you're going to build out your communication. So you can cut and paste off a website. If you've got something written up on Playground, you can cut and paste off there. If you've got something written up in a Word doc, you can cut and paste, or you can type live. This can contain whatever it is that you need to share out with your families. So maybe you want to let them know the public holidays. Maybe you want to highlight that you're attaching the vacation care program. So please look on there for, excursions that might have additional costings, and take a look at what we're facilitating in our program. So build this out. You can add hyperlinks if there's anything that you want to share across with them. Otherwise, you can also add attachments, and this is where you might share your program that you might build in Playground, for example. Now you can have your commenting as public if you'd like to collaborate with your families. So you might even send out a communication, 5 weeks out from vacation care, just asking for some parent input on what would you like to see activity-wise facilitated during our vacation care program. Do you have any ideas? Are there some things that you're doing at home with your child that they really love? And then based on that feedback, you might build out your program. Otherwise, you can disable comments. So if you're just wanting to share your program out, maybe you disable the comments, because if anyone has any queries, they need to directly contact yourselves. You can opt to send this via email as well. So yes, families are going to receive this on their home app, but you might want to hit them in 2 places. So we might do the home app, and we're also going to send an email so we can get you in both areas. Once you've uploaded all of your information, you've attached your families, and you're happy with your communication, you can publish this out, and it will go out live to those families that are selected, those contacts that have been selected. Alternately, save it as a draft, and then you can keep adding to this. If you're someone who works well ahead of due dates, you might draft this up, a couple of weeks out from your vacation care, and then just send it out on the date when it needs to go. All right. So that's gone out to our families now. If they have home app toggled on, like you can see I've just received a push notification letting me know that Little Sprouts has just posted onto home app. And if I press on that push notification, it's going to direct me straight into my messages and Centre Communications, and I can review that post. Alternately, you probably heard that my email bell just went off. I've received that via email as well, so I'll be able to go on and review that. If you do have your comments turned on and you're expecting a little bit of collaboration from your families, press on the 3 dots here and pin this notification. It will sit at the top of your page then. It's going to show you when you've got collaboration coming through. The other thing that you can do when you go back into it is you'll be able to see who's actually opened this in the home app. So by pressing on here, it'll move to a red status when they've opened it, and it will give you the time and date stamp. Obviously, it'll let you know which parent or guardian has opened it as well. So it's a really great way to track who's receiving your communications when they're opening them. You might also be really mindful that, okay, we've got a high volume of families who are opening it from 9 a.m. So maybe I'm going to send my comms communications out at 9 a.m. because I know it's going to hit the majority. But from an administrator standpoint, a really great way to be sharing what's going on this vacation care period. Now, let's say in your vacation care, you do have some excursions scheduled, and based on those excursions, you do require that children who are booked in on that day arrive at the centre by a certain time, and they have a few requirements. They might need to bring their hat, they might need to have a packed lunch, they might need closed-toe shoes. That's just kind of the requirement because we're going to Bush Kinder. What you might do to communicate with families outside of sending them a post is you might actually create a hub message. In your hub message, you might call this Wednesday Bush Kinder. Go through and add your contacts. So again, segmenting via either the child or by the parent or guardian type. For this one, I might use my vacation care room for all active children who have bookings. And then I'm going to select all of them. All right, and then in my hub message, I've got 120 or up to 120 characters. So what am I wanting to share? please don't forget our Bush Kinder will run tomorrow. Children will need to be at the centre for an 8 a.m. departure and will require closed-toe shoes. So just summarising really, really quickly, we've already sent your communications out. You know we're going to Bush Kinder, but I just want to remind you. Now I can put my expiry date on here. So how long do I want this to last on the hubs? I'm very much aware that, you know, families have children booked in on all different days. So I might have this run for a 7-day period, knowing that my Bush Kinder is Wednesday the 20th. So I'm going to run this until the 19th. Now, what this date means, they're not going to receive a notification every single day up until the 19th, reminding them about Bush Kinder. They're going to receive the notification once, just as a reminder when they come to sign their child in or out. This is going to pop up and remind them, hey, Wednesday Bush Kinder, and then they're going to be able to read what it is that you've placed on here. Alternately, you might just want to send this out on the Monday and then just capture everyone, obviously leading up until Wednesday. It's at your discretion. But once you've put that in place, once you've added your contacts, once you've got all your communications in there, you're going to be able to publish this out. There we go. And now that's gone out to the hub. So when families come and collect their children from the centre or drop off in the morning, those that have been included in this communication are going to receive that hub pop-up message. So again, it's a really, really, really great way to be communicating with your families. Again, you would have seen, you've got the ability to view who's seen this. It will move to a red status with that time and date on there as well. So really informative for yourself as an administrator. Really great to be overly communicative with your families and just set them up for success during this vacation care period. So that is your comm centre. Again, it is in office, so this will be a means for your administrators to be communicating out. If you do have a 2IC that has office access, they will be able to use this feature if you've enabled it to them. Otherwise, we're going to jump over into Playground, and this is where, yes, administrators can communicate, but your educators are going to be able to communicate with families as well. So looking at Playground Web first, we might look to create our programs in Playground Web. We might also look to create our menus if we're offering an inclusive menu over the vacation care period. And we might want to share that out with families. For this example, I'm going to use tables, but you have many options in Playground. You've got documents, Canvas, and tables that are not a fixed format, so you can design these to look how you want them to look. Alternately, you might use observations, which is a fixed format, but you might like that design to share communications out with families. It's at your discretion. When I come into tables, though, here's a vacation care menu that I've created earlier. So your menu might look like this. It doesn't have to have this level of detail at all, but you might want to put your logo up the top. You might have Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and you might include dates on these if you want to be really specific. You might put a photo of your food, list the ingredients, and then have the name of what it is that you're offering. Or you might have a very basic menu. Again, this is really at your discretion. I want to show you the highest level that you can go to, but what you're comfortable with is what you can create in your system. So your menu could look like this. If this is something that you repeat, so each vacation care period, you run off the same structure of menu, you might create this in your system as a layout, and then you might just share it out each vacation care period, week 1, week 2, week 3, with families. How do I share this with families? We need to tag the children. So coming across to children, you can select your particular room. So it might be just your vacation care room. It might be everyone. It's completely at your discretion. And then I can tag everyone in bulk here. So I can see all 22 of my children are tagged here. I'm going to publish that out to parents. And that has now gone out to the parents and guardians of the children that I've tagged. And here's the list here. This means they're going to be able to see that on their home app. They're going to be able to comment on that so they can give you some feedback. They can write, that's amazing. We love that menu. The most common one is, I'm going to ditch work and join vacation care. This sounds amazing. And it is. You do amazing things. So your families are going to be able to see that on their home app. Now, if you don't offer a menu, that's completely okay. Now let's look at how you might share your program. Now I'm going to build this one with you just to show you how easy it is to put that information in. And particularly if you have a layout in the system that has a baseline, that's going to make it even quicker for you. But when we're looking at our program, we might want to put the days. So we might have Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and then Friday in here. Now I might want to leave this one blank because I might want to list the areas that we're facilitating. So whether this is child spontaneous play, whether this is an extension of learning, whether it's indoor, whether it's literacy, numeracy, I might want to put those in. This is your program. You can structure yours however you want. I'll just put 3 in here. Let's just look at it from that standpoint. Now, if you look at this and you think, oh, it's a bit boring, I'd like to add some color, go for it. You can absolutely add color. Click on a box, come up to your color panel. You can align this however you'd like. If you want it to look like your logo, if you have specific center colors, you can make it really colorful if you want. You can align it with Easter, so really pastel, completely up to you. Down here, you can put your shading in for your colors. Otherwise, if you're happy with that, press tab, and that's going to color your whole row. So you don't have to click on each box, go up to the color panel, find your shade. If you're doing the same color the whole way along, you can tab it across. Now, if we want to color this in here as well, same thing. Put your shading in. This can look however you want it to look. It's really at your discretion. I'm going to make something really, really basic for you, but I know there are a lot of creative people who are watching today, and yours are probably going to look incredible. All right, once we're ready, we might want to change these to a heading, and then we might want to center them however you want to sit them. It's really at your discretion. This program is your own. And then you might be typing in, okay, what are we looking to facilitate? Let's start typing in our program. Alternately, this might be what you're sharing with your families. So we might actually put Monday, and it's a public holiday, so we're not going to be open. And maybe we're going on an excursion. So we're going to go excursion, Bush Kinder. I might want to put a picture in there. So I might come across to my content, click, drag and drop an image. Now, if I've got a Bush Kinder image in there, I'm going to put it in there. I might pick this one here. That looks pretty. And then you might detail what the intention is around this Bush Kinder. So down the bottom here, I might be putting in, this Bush Kinder program is to facilitate children's nature play. We're going to be looking at an inquiry unit around, nature and natural resources. You intend on the children getting out of this excursion, detail it in there so your families can read about it. It's going to be incredibly resourceful for them, but also for your team, because they're going to be able to see this online if they don't know what's coming up. they can jump on, they can read it. If you've had to make any edits, if you've planned on Bush Kinder and we're having a horrific storm, then you can update this and you can reshare it out with your families, and you can put on there, you know, due to wet weather, we've postponed our Bush Kinder, but instead this is what we're doing. So again, it's all about communicating and collaborating with your families. So this is a platform that is extremely, it has a lot of capability to do that. Again, how am I sharing this out with my families? We're going into children and we need to tag them. So the families of these children are going to be able to see this information on their home app. They'll only be able to see it after we hit publish. So if you do want to save this as a draft and keep coming back to it, if it's kind of a document that you're building with your team, you are more than welcome to. Otherwise, I'm going to publish it out and they're going to receive a notification on their home app, letting them know that there is a new document to be viewed. Again, if I want to share this in Comm Center, then I can come to print, and then it's going to get me to save this as a PDF. So I'll be able to save this as a PDF, and then I can attach that PDF to my communication that I'm sending out to families in Office if I want to. So you've got a lot of options to communicate, and our software all speaks to one another. So it's a really great way if you have access to Office, Playground, and your families are using Home. It's really an all-in-one. It's a really great solution to make sure that everyone's aware of everything. It also means that your families aren't getting confused by having to check their emails, check their home app, check their learning tab. They'll know where to go because you're using that one source of truth being Comm Center, and you're using documentation to share what's happening with children, and they can just see that again on the home app. Easy. So in terms of communication, there are a lot of options in here. When it comes time to sharing what actually happened for the day, if you're doing a daily roundup, if you're doing a learning journal for the day, you've got options in your system to do that. You might pop across and be using documents. And you might have a layout that you've already designed for this that you might press on. That way your educators can come through, they can attach the images that they've taken throughout the day, they can add in the description on what it is that they're wanting to share out with families. What were their celebration moments from today's activities? So we might be using that excursion as an example, and we might detail all the wow moments from Bush Kinder. What did we learn? What did the children see? Get their voice on here. It's a really great way to be sharing out to families what their child's learning, how they engaged, how they received it. How do you get the child's voice on here? You can record the child with their permission. So just ask them, do you have permission to record them? And you can do some short little videos where they're speaking to the camera about what it is that they're seeing, what they're hearing, what they're feeling, what they're constructing, whatever it is that they're doing. Parents are going to love seeing that, especially if they're locked in an office for the day, you know, knowing that their child is having this amazing adventure. It's really incredible. Alternately, you know, photos, we live for photos as well. And then just put the details in the description here. Now, you don't have to structure your learning story like this. It can be called whatever you'd like it to be called. Because you're using documents, this is an open format, and it's really at your discretion how you would like this to be designed, how much information is in here, how much, where things are situated or laid out. It's at your design. But again, once you're ready, we just need to tag children. So coming across, selecting our particular room. Now, if you've got children who are signed in for today and you're sending it out today, you will have a shortcut for children booked today, and you'll be able to quickly click drag and drop for all children that had a booking today. Alternately, we might tag for the entire room, or we can click drag and drop individual children. Alternate to that, you can use our shortcuts in the system if you are using documents, tables, or Canvas. So you can type @ and you can type a child's name and you can quickly tag them. So a few options for you, but definitely quite easy to be able to send that documentation out and communicate with families around, okay, this is what we said we were going to do, here's what we did, and here's the results, and we want to celebrate those with you. Once you hit publish, your families are going to receive a push notification if they have it turned on. Otherwise, they will just navigate into their learning section of the Home app, which we're going to have a look at in a second. They'll be able to view what it is that you've shared, so any photos, video content, they'll read about what you've written, and then they have the opportunity to write a comment, and that's a really great way of engaging your families and getting that feedback and buy-in from them as well. They might have a conversation with their little one once they pick them up from vacation care around, what did you do today, and what was your highlight, and what did you enjoy? And they might want to share that with you and just, be like, Johnny absolutely loved Bush Kinder, incredible, the photos were brilliant, can't wait for the next excursion, whatever it might be. Now, not to weigh the topic too heavily, but those comments can really feed into your quality area 6 with your relationship with families, your communication with families. So, when it comes to A&R as well, it's extremely advantageous to be able to present them with your playground system and be like, look, our families are really engaged and overly communicated with. Here's our menus, here's our programs, here's our learning stories, here's our child documentation, here is all the input that our families provide to us in the comment section, and here's how we embed it. So again, completely at your discretion, but a really great way to be sharing that information. Easy. So that is the playground system. So far to recap, we've talked about how to prepare your roles. We've spoken to instant mobile bookings. I'm not going to weigh in on that topic anymore. If you weren't in our session yesterday, please view the recording when it comes out next week as to how instant mobile bookings are going to be able to help with your vacation care booking system. We've talked about Comm Centre. We've talked about communicating and documenting through Playground. We're now going to take a look at Playground app for messaging. And then we're going to jump over into Home app. And then we're going to have some Q&A. All right. So when I open up Playground app as an educator, I have a feature called Messages, which enables me to be able to communicate with particular children's families. Now, this is a really great way for educators to be sending out those little reminders. The example that we used in that hub notification for the Bush Kinder excursion, your educators can do that through Messenger if you would like. So signing into Messenger under myself, because the communication will be sent from myself as an educator. Up the top here, hitting the pencil icon, I can select which children it is that I want to include in this. So I can tick the plus, or you can type their name up the top and select them. Once I've segmented the children that I want to be communicating with, I hit next. I put in my message title. So we're going to go Wednesday Bush Kinder. And then I'm going to write my message. So this Wednesday, and then I might put the date. We have our Bush Kinder. Please don't forget, we require an 8 a.m. drop-off, closed-toe shoes. Please put sunscreen on your child beforehand. We require a packed lunch because we will be away from the centre for the day. All the information can be structured in here. Once they're ready, they can send this communication out, and it will go to the families in their Home app. So it's not all on administrators to make sure that they're communicating out with families. Your educators play a pivotal role in being able to share communication as well. And they can do that in the form of messages if they need to. In terms of responses for messages, you'll see over here we've now got our message board, so full historic access to everything that's been sent. If a parent or guardian does comment back on this, the centre will be notified. It will say 1 new message or 2 new messages, or however many communications have been received. When they come back into the feature, it will have a little red dot indicating that this is the particular message that has additional commentary on it. and I can go in, I can view what it is that has been shared or the feedback that's been received from the parents or guardians. As an educator, I can respond back to them if I need to. So you've got some really great ways of sharing your vacation care program, making sure that families are remembering what's going on at the centre, and communicating. Excellent. All right, we're going to jump into home now as our final piece. This is the home app. So parents and guardians of children that you have at your service will receive an email invite. They'll be able to log into home app. By default, they'll log in to the sign in and out screen, but I'll show you where to go for them to find your communications if they don't have push notifications turned on. So firstly, we're going to come across to account and we're going to select inbox. Through inbox, we have messages. So I can see here's the message that I've just sent out. And you can see that there is a green bubble indicating that this is a new message. So this is something that they need to be viewing. They haven't yet viewed this communication. I have admin posts. So this is from your comms center in the service. If I switch over to my OSH service, I'll be able to see the Easter Vacation Care Program information that I sent out. So that's what it's going to look like for them when they come into it. If you do attach a cover photo, it's going to look really bright and vibrant for the families. It's probably going to capture them. They're going to want to read it. They're going to go through and get really excited. So this is what it would look like if you do add an attachment, add some pictures, add a cover photo versus your stock standard, which is this one here. Now, if families are missing communications, either messages or admin posts, and they'd like to turn their push notifications on, they absolutely can. What we will do is get them to come into their settings, notification settings, and at any point, they can toggle on what's important to them. So if they would like to receive push notifications around learning and documentation around their child, so that would be things like your documents, moments, Canvas, observations, they can toggle it on at their discretion here. If they want to receive notifications around your communications, they can select which ones. So admin posts, do they want to receive communications if there's comments put on there? New messages, and then again, the comments on the new messages. So this is completely at their discretion and they can toggle this on and off at their leisure. So that's where they're going to see your comm center posts and messages. Where are they going to see things that you post in tables, documents, Canvas, observations? It's over in the Care tab under Learning. This is where it's shared with them. Newest at the top, most historic at the bottom. But if we're looking at our program, they'll be able to press on that and view the program that you've created. They'll have the ability to put in comments if they'd like to comment on this. So again, that collaboration is in there. They have full access to this digitized learning space for their child. So the more that you send out on Playground, the bigger this area is. But families can also be sharing moments with you. So leading into your vacation care, if you have asked for family input or insight, they might want to share some photos and some ideas on what their child's currently enjoying and you know, food for thought to embed into your vacation care program. And that is home. Now we're at the Q&A section. So if you do have any questions, we urge you to come off mute, have a chat, ask them live. We can go back into any of the softwares. Mufaro, are there any questions that you've seen?
There are a lot. I've just been going through and answering them though, Tash, so nothing fresh. Again, if you do have a question you want to ask live, please do raise your hand and we can allow your mic and then allow you to unmute and ask your question. Otherwise, happy to keep going in the chat. Been having some decent chats with Naomi, who's had some suggestions and ideas on where different types of documentation could show in the home app. There was another question here from Shannon Whitaker about the difference between sharing in playground versus sharing in office and why you might want to choose one over the other. So Tash, if you're happy to kind of draw on that a little bit more, I'm sure everyone would love to hear sort of the different points around sharing in playground versus sharing on office.
Yeah, amazing. Okay. So when we're talking about sharing in office versus sharing in playground, we're probably speaking to comm center versus your playground and sharing that documentation out. Um, there is no benefit to one or the other. It's really at the user discretion and what's going to work best for you. If you are an administrator that regularly sends out communications via comm center to your families, they probably have this expectation of this embedded practice where you are sharing things. So they know to go into admin posts and be viewing what it is that you're sharing with them. And they really, you know, routinely seek that out, knowing that you're going to share in there. If, however, your educators are really heavily sharing documentation through Playground, you might actually choose to be sharing your program, your menu, all of that out through Playground and it going over into that learning section. I think the benefit to having things on Playground is your educators are aware of what you're sending out. So here's the menu that we've shared. Here's our intended vacation care program. So educators can go back through, they can view as things need to be changed. They have buy-in to be able to edit and reshare those out. Unfortunately, educators don't have access to comm center and they're not going to be able to view those communications if you are sharing them through comm center. So for things like fee increases or pricing around the vacation care programs, if you've got excursion fees and it's a bit more sensitive, maybe comm center is the one that you choose. But for things like menus, programs, things that educators have buy-in with, you might send those out through Playground. I think the bottom line that I want to get across is you should probably be using these resources being your comm center and playground so that they feed through to Home app. So that's one true source of knowledge for your families. It can get really confusing if you've got things like a Facebook page. You also email things out. We also share documentation on Home app. There's so many sources for families to have to keep up with. If you can just bring that all down to one, that would be so advantageous for you and your families. But I hope that answers it for you.
Thanks, Tash. And there's another question here from Naomi. Can the comms be shared to educators as well if they have profiles? Did you want to just talk through that process?
Yeah, okay. So we don't currently have educator comms. So your educators would need to be set up in the system as a parent or guardian. And that is possible if you link your educators to your demo child in your centre, and then obviously tag your demo child, then they will be able to receive those communications from Comm Centre. So it's definitely a possibility. But alternately, we do have some real key stakeholders in here listening and reading your commentary. So if you're saying educator comms is a huge one for you, they're going to be able to take away and have those communications offline.
Absolutely. We do have a hand raised. Vera, I have allowed your mic, so feel free to come off mute whenever you're ready.
I thank you for that. Sorry, I would have popped it in the chat, but I, for some reason, can't access. Anyway, our booking process for vacation care is quite complex. So our families have to submit a vacation care booking request form through our website. So at this point, we do not have bookings enabled through the app, and that had mainly to do to ensure that regulations are met, such as signing off, parents are giving consent to excursions rather than booking through the app and trying to catch the parents in the morning of an excursion day. If we wanted to move forward with app bookings, making that whole process that little bit easier, how can these regulations be met?
That's an incredible question. Thank you for coming off mute. And I actually appreciate that you didn't put this into the chat because I think it's a really valuable question to hear. It's at your provider discretion. I don't want to speak to your provider and what their requirements are, but I will give you some options to consider and take away. If you are using the digital enrolment form, so we're coming into settings, service settings, and enrolment form here, you've got the ability to create this to meet whatever requirement it is. So if you do offer regular excursions, then you could build a new page in there with a permission form around regular excursions, regular centre outings, incursions, and parents can or guardians can be signing off on this initially at enrolment, but you've got the ability to also be sending this as a re-enrolment. Now, re-enrolment will send the form filled out as the parent or guardian had filled it out, as the information is on Office, with the ability for them to fill out anything new or update anything on the form. So, for example, if you want to be really specific around, okay, we're doing bush kinder, and I want to attach, the route and this and that, and the risk assessment, so families have all of that information, then you might actually update your page, and you might change these questions before each vacation care, and you might instead send a re-enrolment form out and have families pre-filling this out ahead of that vacation care period to give permission for these individual excursion days. Again, that's an option. So you could do a blanket ongoing excursion permission. You could send re-enrolments with, the details of each individual excursion coming up. Alternate to that, you could definitely be creating your current permission forms and attaching them in Comm Centre to get those out to families if you choose not to update your enrolment form. So there's still ways of being able to get this out to families and cover that. It's just at your provider discretion on what's going to work best for you.
Thanks, Tash, and thanks, Vera, for the question. Again, if anyone else has any other questions, please do raise your hand if you'd like to ask them live. Tash, there is one here from Tammy. If you add requested bookings for a family, will they receive a notification that their booking has been added or removed?
Okay, so if we are speaking to the casual booking process, so if a family is going into the bookings tab in their home app and you haven't enabled instant mobile booking, so they've had to request a day, they do receive notification. So, and they receive it for both. If you've approved it, then they receive a notification that it's been confirmed. If you deny it, then they receive a notification that this has been rejected. Again, push notifications are very advantageous to have turned on, so they receive these as a push notification. Alternately, they would need to go into the bookings and view their request to see that had been rejected. Again, if they haven't got push notifications turned on. So we highly urge them to have those turned on so they're receiving instant notifications.
Absolutely. There was another question around push notifications. So just to draw on to that, I did mention in the chat there to Ali, in the home app, so push notifications are turned on by default, I believe is definitely the case. However, if you've just downloaded the home app, you might get prompted by your phone's operating system whether or not to allow notifications. So absolutely making sure that notifications are on in the home app, but in your phone settings, making sure that they're allowed for home as well.
100%. If in doubt, we've got some incredible support guides. So if you want to be sharing those out to new families, please do jump onto our support, Explore support page. Just type in home app invites and setup, and you'll segment to those particular articles. So happy to jump offline though and email those through to whoever asked that, because that's a really great point.
Perfect segue, Tash, because I might just post in the comments here in the chat. Sorry, I'll post a couple of links. So we've got one link to the training and support resources. So those support articles that Tash mentioned, as well as other things like learning pathway videos. You can see the webinar schedule as well for future webinars that the training team do hold. You can also book a session with our training team, or you can join our community pages on Facebook, where there are other educators and administrators online in our community. And then we also have our feature request and feedback link, or Canny board as we call it. So definitely feel free to come through and add any suggestions on things you might want to see in the software, but also you can look at and vote on other things that have already been suggested in there. And then of course, registering for the rest of our OSH Week sessions. We have 2 left to go after this one. As you can see, Tash just put it up on the screen there. We have Boost Your Leadership in OSH with Sarah Louise Gandolfo, which is going to be a great session, highly anticipated. So definitely feel free to register to that one if you haven't already. We do have 5 minutes left, so great time to add in any last minute questions. If anyone has any, again, in the chat, in the Q&A, or raise your hand and we can unmute you. But other than that, Tash, thank you so much for giving us this time today on this lovely training session. And thank you again for spending all the time with us.
No, thank you. Thanks for having me.
Amazing. I might just give it a few more seconds to see if any other things pop up. Otherwise, we will call it a morning and let people get to their lunchtime. Or if you are in the NT or the WA, good morning and thanks for coming. And yes, we will see you later this afternoon and tomorrow as well for Kylie's session. So thanks everyone and enjoy your day.